you're ready, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, remember that Rustin will always be your home. So please do not forget us. Congratulations and enjoy today. At this time, I'd like to invite Davis Patel to the podium for his address. Davis.
Good morning, students, teachers, family, and friends to graduation. It is my distinguished honor to address you all here today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Davis Patel, and I'm the president of Student Council here at Rustin. I want to take a moment to talk about Bayard Rustin himself. Bayard Rustin was a leader in the fight for civil rights, born right here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. He was a leader in the social movements for civil rights, socialism, pacifism, nonviolence, and gay rights. He was instrumental in organizing the famous March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Rustin became an honorary co-chairperson of the Socialist Party of America in 1972 and acted as national chairman of the party in the 70s. Representative Adam Clayton Powell of New York, angry that Rustin and Dr. Martin Luther King were planning a march outside the Democratic National Convention, warned King that if he didn't drop Rustin, he would tell the press that King and Rustin were lovers. In one of his weaker moments, Dr. King called off the march and put distance between himself and Rustin, who reluctantly resigned from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Bayard Rustin was forced into the shadows of history because he was gay, and yet he never gave up and never tried to hide who he was. He said, "It was an absolute necessity for me to declare homosexuality, because if I didn't, I was part of the prejudice. I was aiding and abetting the prejudice that was part of an effort to destroy me." Bayard Rustin's story is my message to you. We are part of his legacy, so whatever you choose to do with the rest of your lives, stand up for justice, speak out against inequities, and stay true to yourself, even if it makes life more difficult. Because, for the same reasons we won't let Bayard Rustin be erased from history, your accomplishments won't be forgotten. I was planning on using the rest of this speech to talk about us and our accomplishments as a class, what we can do in the future. But in the spirit of Bayard Rustin, I cannot do that. Because on Tuesday, May 24th, 19 children were shot and killed at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Lexi Rubio was 10 years old and had just received a Good Citizenship Award and an Honor Roll Award. According to the New York Times, Lexi's parents said they waited until the last moment to name her, deciding on something that would stand out when called at high school graduation. Lexi Rubio, Layla Salazar, Ayla Seguero, Jackie Cesares, Annabelle Rodriguez, Amarie Jo Garza, Jose Flores, Xavier Lopez, Leonard Sandoval, Uzziah Garcia, and Eliana Torres will never have their names called at their high school graduation because they were murdered in yet another senseless act of gun violence in this country. This was the deadliest school shooting in this country since Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut in 2012, when we were in second grade. For our entire educational careers, we have lived under the threat of gun violence, and yet no one in power seems interested in doing anything about it. This is the only developed nation in the world where children and parents live in fear that they will not come home from school. I'm tired of living in a country that prioritizes the right to own a gun over the right to come home from school. Our Congress is too interested in protecting the filibuster and their own re-elections to stand up for the students of this country who are begging not to die at school. So today, for the 19 students who will never get to experience their own high school graduation, please take a moment to call your representatives in the state legislature and Congress, and when you vote in November, when many of us will vote for the first time, think about the children who will not get to experience this moment. And that brings me to my final point, the high school experience. You all have made our time here so meaningful, and you have accomplished so much. Over the past year, we have come closer together than any class I have ever witnessed. After returning from separation, we formed stronger and more complex bonds. We found who we belonged with, which made for an unforgettable senior experience. I know this year, because of those of you that have been with me since the beginning and those of you that have just entered my life, I have become a more well-rounded individual. The things that we learned from our fellow graduates will have significantly more importance to me in our lives than chemistry or calculus ever will. The lesson most important to me has been about how to compete. Starting freshman year, me and Taylor Kraftchick became locked in a bitter academic competition, wherein whoever scored higher on a test that we both took got a point. Obviously, I got obliterated. But we kept keeping score until we both forgot about it. Having her there with me, an unworthy opponent who kept coming back to the fight I could never win, gave me someone to chase and help me keep my grades in a range I was happy with, no matter how many points I was down. The next person that taught me how to compete is Ella Harrison. I decided early on I wanted to be student council president, and as the election approached, Ella decided she was going to run as well. I'm so glad she did, because as most of you know, sometimes my ego needs to be popped. And our near tie-in election made us an amazing team this year, and I want to thank her so much. Ella is just as, if not more qualified to be addressing you here today on behalf of Student Council, and she deserves more praise than I could possibly give her. The next and most infamous rivalry is between myself and Jack Lyons, respectively presidents of the Young Democrats and Young Republicans clubs. And if you can believe this, in first grade, Jack was my best friend. And today, despite everything, he's still one of my favorite people. This year, with more than half our classes together, including one of the greatest class placements of all time with our 7th period gifted class, debate was intense. But Jack taught me an important lesson about leaving the fight in the ring. Because no matter how much we argued, he was always genuine and sociable after the fight was done, even if I couldn't be. He was a worthy and honorable opponent, and it would be my distinguished honor to beat him however high our debate stage gets. The last and perhaps funniest competition is the race for prom king. I won't lie to you, I wanted to win. I thought I had it bagged. Nonetheless, in victory that shocked the nation, Chris Canarino won. As much as I pretended to be mad in that moment, I learned that the only thing better than winning is the look of your best friend's face as he rips victory out from under you. Thank you all so much, and congratulations to my fellow graduates. Now I'd like to introduce Molly King.